In the city of gold, nothing shines brighter than Chanel Aion. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review episode 1 and the season 1 premiere of The Real Housewives with Money of Dubai. We start the season premiere off by giving a brief history of the city of Dubai and how it came to be today. So back in 1966, there was not much going on in Dubai besides a couple of buildings here and there, but for the most part, it was still all just desert and sand. But now it's the complete opposite because over time, it became this luxurious place to visit, this luxurious place to make money, coined the land of opportunity and a place to get rich and make money. And they also have the tallest skyscraper on earth. I believe it's called the Burj Khalifa. It's a beautiful building. I love the skyline. Everything about it is beautiful. The city looks beautiful itself. We get a brief description from all the wives talking about the city of Dubai and how amazing it is, how great it is, how it's the best place on earth, according to them. And while yes, it all looks beautiful and luxurious and nice and pretty from the outside looking in, if you look a little closer, you'll see that Dubai has very strict rules when it comes to women and the LGBTQ community. So I just hope that they don't just gloss over that and they paint out Dubai to be this beautiful city that you just get there and after 2 days you're rich and you have all this money. I just hope that they talk about the problematic views that Dubai also has. I know that a lot of people and a lot of fans did not want the show to happen in Dubai because they're like, oh, well, that's a slap in the face for the LGBT community and the women who watch this show, because a lot of Bravo fans, that's what their fan base consists of. And also, I believe the locals from Dubai, they also had backlash with the show. They were like, no, this is not how our wives behave over here in Dubai. This is a false portrayal. So I'm curious to know how long the show is going to last for in Dubai, seeing how strict they are with their rules against women. I mean, I just can't picture the cast going out to any regular restaurant and let's say they get into a heated argument in public, right? And somebody decides to throw a glass of wine at somebody, or let's say get physical, right? Because it's possible. I can't picture them just brushing that off their shoulders like, oh, that's nothing. It's fine. It happens every other day. I'm pretty sure that there's some type of consequences to that. So I'm curious to know how they're going to maneuver around that. But I guess we'll have to see. So then we get introduced to the first 6 housewives of Dubai. We get Caroline Stanberry, aka Caroline Strawberry. And she was on a show called Ladies of London many years ago. I have no information of the show or who Caroline is, but from what I see online, a lot of people love Caroline. They are such a huge supporter of her. So she must be a catch or something to TV. She is British. She's a married mom of 3, and she is an entrepreneur, and she is a aspiring I almost said aspiring hoe. Aspiring hoteler. Okay, so then we have Caroline Brooks, and that is such a pet peeve of mine when they add 2 housewives on the same city and they both have the same name. Like, can we not? Like, there's many women to pick and we choose 2 that have the same name, but according to what I'm seeing on the show, they call this Caroline Brooks. So I mean, maybe we'll go with that. So Caroline Brooks, she's originally from America. She's American. I believe she's from Boston, and she is divorced. She's a divorced mom of 1. So you're not a housewife, but you're on a show called Housewives, so you're not married. But okay, we'll let her get away with it. And she's also an entrepreneur, and she is a spa enthusiast. And she says she moved to Dubai because she can make much more money over there. Her tax bracket is much bigger over there than she would be in America. So then we move over to Nina Ali. So Nina Ali, I believe they formed this whole show centered around her and her group of friends, which I love. I think the casting director or whoever casted this show did a really wonderful job with that, because Nina Ali, she is connected to Lisa Milan. And Lisa Milan, she's connected to, I believe, Chanel Aion, and they're connected to Caroline. Nina knows Caroline. So they all know each other. The only 2 that are not really within the group is Sarah and Caroline Brooks. Caroline Brooks, she's there, but she's not really friends with everybody, I think. And Sarah, they say that she blends it with everybody, whatever that means. But Nina Ali, she is Lebanese American. She's a married mom of 3, and she is a mommy influencer and a CEO. So okay, good job, Nina. We get Lisa Milan. Lisa Milan, I have mentioned before that I know her from this show back in 2009, I believe. She was on a show called College Hill, South Beach. And it's crazy to me to see her back on TV after like, what, a decade? Like, it is amazing. Back then she looked beautiful, and now she is just so stunning. I mean, she is definitely up there in top 3, top 5 of like most beautiful housewives, because she is so beautiful to look at. So her name is Lisa Milan. I know her as Milan, so now she goes by Lisa. I mean, okay. And she is also Jamaican American. She is married. She's a married mom of 3, and she is a maternity fashion designer. Okay, so that's cool. Then we get Sarah Almaden. Oh, I hope I'm not pronouncing that incorrectly. She is a Emirati, which I've been Googling what that means, and I'm still struggling with what exactly that term is, but that's what she is. She's a divorced mom of 1, and she is a tech entrepreneur, something in tech. can't pronounce it. We have Chanel Aion. She goes by Aion, and she is from Kenya. She is a married mom of one, and she's Dubai's first black supermodel. Aion, let me tell everybody this already. I need to see her on Ultimate Girls Trip Season 3, Season 4, and Season 5. Chanel Aion, whoever casted her, deserves a raise and a promotion and a new laptop. Because Aion is just something else. She is coming onto the show with like full force, beautiful woman, but we'll get into that. So those are our 6 wives of Dubai. We start off in the middle of the desert with somebody approaching wearing this gold outfit, and it's Chanel Aion getting ready to do a photo shoot. And it's crazy to me that she was wearing this heavy ass dress, because the way they talk about the heat and the weather over there in Dubai, that it's so hot, it's impressive that she could even just stand still and do a photo shoot and look good while wearing all this heavy ass material. Because if it was me, I would have a headache. I'll be sweating bullets. You'll have to put a filter on my pictures. Like, absolutely not. I'll be glistening with all the amount of sweat dripping down my forehead. But okay, kudos to Aion. In her confessionals, the confessionals, they're upgraded. They're no longer just from the stomach up. It's the entire outfit from head to toe. So no, you cannot be wearing Uggs. You cannot be wearing sandals. You cannot be barefoot. And you cannot be wearing dirty socks in your confessionals anymore. Your whole entire outfit has to look nice. So make sure that you're wearing nice high heels. But you know, the American housewives, they can't relate. Ooh. So that was impressive, and it's so cool that as they're all sitting there on the couch, you would think that everything around them, the living room that they're sitting in, it's all real, but no, it's all green screen. It's all fake, but it looks so realistic. But I like that. I like the upgraded scale. I hope that they do that with the USA housewives. Come on, Bravo, let's get with it. So then Aion, she goes on to say something in 4 different languages, and then she translates it in English, and she's like, I just said that I'm a bad bitch in 4 different languages, period, dot. She was so cute. I loved it. This is how you have to introduce yourself to the Real Housewives universe. She goes on to say that she's Dubai's first black supermodel. I mean, look at her. She's beautiful. She is stunning. She is gorgeous. She is everything, honestly. And I love that not only is she beautiful, but she also has a beautiful personality to match it. Because nowadays, I mean, you meet somebody who's attractive and then you start to get to know them, and that personality is kind of like talking to a brick wall. There's nothing there. So I love that she has a combination of both, because she is at a 10. She has so much energy. We meet her son, Taj, who is 16. I think he's kind of annoyed that she has so much energy. I mean, but I don't think he takes it personally, because she's like, oh, you know, all your friends love me. All your friends love me. I'm the cool mom. I'm the cool mom. But he's just like, yeah, that's why it's kind of annoying, because they all gravitate to you. She also gives us a backstory of how she came to be in Dubai. She said that she moved from Kenya when she was 18 with her husband. Then she moved here, and then she was approached by somebody who offered her a modeling gig, and the rest was history, because she started modeling for all these big luxurious companies. And she also mentions how Dubai is known for their gold, but also their gold diggers. And I'm like, now wait a minute, Aion, don't call me out of my name. Because if you see me in Dubai, mind your business. And she also goes to say, yeah, I welcome anybody to come to Dubai. Anybody could come here as long as you don't take my star. I'm pretty sure that would be very difficult to do anyway. I love the relationship that she has with her son. She also said that, oh, you know, if my son wanted to skip school one day, I would just be like, oh, you know what? It's fine. Just skip school and come hang out with me. It was cute. And then they started playing this game. The son was just like, oh, you want to play this game called Biushu or something like that? And I'm like, wait a minute. When I used to play the same game that they were playing, because I started seeing the hand movement. I'm like, wait a minute, that's called slide. But I guess they call it something else. They started playing that. She also is very thankful to her photography team that's taking care of her and doing all the photo shoot with her. So Aion, I think she's going to be a favorite on the show. We head over to Caroline Strawberry's house, and we get an overlook of the city of Dubai. And every time they show us the overlook of the city, it reminds me of the city of Miami. I mean, both of them have very similar vibes, with the beach, with the tropical scenery, the sand, the beaches, the tall skyscrapers. Everything about it screams Miami. Even Caroline's house is something I would look at in Miami. Her house is nice. It's big. It's pretty nice. She's in bed with her dog, and she's like, oh man, my dog, he just peed in bed. And I'm like, so get up. Like, why are we just laying in a bed full of piss? Like, that is gross. I mean, unless you're into that. I don't know if Caroline is into water sports, but I mean, okay, neither here nor there. So then we meet Sergio, her husband, and whew, hold on, let me calm down. I almost had hot flashes when I saw this scene. Sergio, he comes out in nothing but a towel, and whew, I mean, it was so unnecessary. It really was, but you know, do it again. Like, he comes out in nothing but a towel. I'm like, oh, please. He couldn't make it any more obvious that he was trying to be sexy on camera. He's just walking around just strutting his body like, yeah, hold on, let me flex that way. I'm like, Sergio, what are you doing? Sit your ass down and put a shirt on, but secretly take it off. So he's 27. He's Caroline's husband. Caroline is 47. And I'm like, wait a minute. So we have another Diana situation from Beverly Hills. Okay, I mean, we'll go with the flow of it. So Sergio, they're together. She also lets us know that she was married prior to Sergio. And just a year ago, they got divorced. And I'm like, wait a minute. So that's another red flag right there. So you just got divorced a year ago and now you're married a year later to Sergio? That's interesting. And she has 3 children with her ex-husband. She moved to Dubai 7 years ago, but 5 years later, she got divorced from him. And she said that she has 3 kids. One of her daughters, I believe she's 17. She's close to Sergio's age, and she's 47. And she tells us how her and Sergio came to be. She said that when she was going through her midlife crisis, that he popped up out of nowhere, and they fell in love. And I'm like, okay, so that's the 3rd red flag. I don't know about that. That's kind of concerning because he met you at a moment when you were vulnerable. So I'm not going to say he's using you for money or he's trying to take advantage of you, but I mean, I don't know, when you meet somebody during your midlife crisis, I mean, I don't know, I guess love has no boundaries, right? So that's that, I guess. I mean, either way, whatever happens with their relationships, I'm going to be glad to see Sergio on my screen every week. So then he gets in bed, he puts a shirt on, unfortunately, and she's like, oh, the dog just pissed in the bed. And he's just like, aw. And I'm like, so nobody cares? Then again, maybe he's into water sports as well. I mean, who knows what they do behind the closed doors. Nina, the other new housewife on the show, she shows up to Caroline's house, but we don't get a proper introduction from her just yet. And it was so interesting how her and Caroline were shading each other in the confessionals about how they used to think about each other prior to becoming friends. I mean, Nina, she was talking about Caroline and she was like, yeah, I couldn't stand Caroline. I mean, I just really couldn't stand her. She was just so stuck up. I really did not like her. Meanwhile, Caroline is also in her confessional talking about Nina, and she's like, yeah, I just thought she was so lame and boring, and she's just there. She has nothing much to offer. I mean, if I was them, I would feel some type of way watching this back. Like, wait a minute, so this is how you thought about me prior to us becoming friends? Like, the friendship is over. But Nina, she has a bottle of champagne. They're sitting down to drink it. And then we get a little bit of more of a backstory of Sergio and Caroline. Caroline says that they were supposed to get married in Dubai, but because of their rules, they couldn't do it because Caroline, she is Jewish and she's divorced. So she can't get married in Dubai because of those rules. I'm not sure how strict those rules are, but obviously they're pretty strict enough for her not to get married. And then Sergio, he couldn't get married to her because he's Catholic. So they had to run off to this place called Militia, I believe it's called, 3 days earlier, and they got married that way. So now they're having another wedding. Why? Because Caroline's parents, they want to be a part of it. And since this is Caroline's second wedding, she doesn't really care about it. She's like, been there, done that. It is what it is. But Sergio, it means something to him because this is his first wedding. So he wants, to do this grand thing or whatever. And then this is the other red flag that I kind of saw. And I'm like, wait a minute, because Caroline goes on to say that she wants to have this hen party, which is British slang for a bachelorette party. But she goes on to explain to Nina, oh yeah, but Sergio, he also wants to be a part of it. And I'm like, now why? I don't know, that was kind of concerning to me. I mean, unless he's just, he loves her that much that he just wants to spend time with her all the time. But even then, that's a little bit too much. Like, a bachelorette party is supposed to be for just the women, right? And not the husband as well. I mean, if it was the other way around, would you also allow your wife to be there for a bachelor party? I don't know. Nina goes on to say, oh, so he's gonna kind of be like your husband, your girlfriend. And I'm like, ooh, shade. She said your husband, your girlfriend, your best friend, your this, that, and the third. And I'm like, I don't know. It's too soon to call, but it's just a couple of red flags that I'm seeing go up in their relationship. And Caroline is just like, yeah, everybody just assumes that he's just like my boy toy and stuff. And that's just not the case. And Caroline, she's a pretty woman. So, I mean, seeing both of them next to each other, I really wouldn't look at their ages just because, again, she looks good for her age. But I mean, again, I don't know, Sergio, for you to show up at the bachelorette party and you want to be a part of it as well, I don't know. Maybe it means a lot to him. I don't know. What do y'all think? Will y'all let your significant other show up to your bachelor or bachelorette party as well if they wanted to be a part of it? Or would you be like, no, we need some boundaries? We head over to Lisa Milan's house and she's in the backyard with her 3 kids, Maximilian, Sebastian, and Christian, and her husband, Rich, which I find his name to be so ironic given their money situation. And speaking of money, so the kids, they're inside the pool, but the pool has become useless because the water is hot because the temperature outside, I believe, is 103 degrees. So the water is warm and hot. So Lisa, she has hired some people to bring over cinder blocks of ice to put inside the pool to cool it down. And I'm like, what? I have never seen that. And then at the bottom, we see the price of the ice blocks. And I believe it was $1,200. And I'm like, what? $1,200 for some ice? I mean, Must be nice. My solution would have been like, kids, just go inside and have an ice pop or something or some ice cream and sit in front of the air conditioner. Or get like those trays of ice, the little cube ones, and then just throw them in the pool, and maybe that would do something. So then she also tells us how her and Rich, her husband, came to be. So they met in 2012 at the club Live in Miami on a Sunday. And I thought that was cute. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. Hold on, because she just gave all of us a couple pointers. So go to this club on Sunday in Miami and maybe meet a rich man and get married. Okay, okay, noted. Don't ever say that she didn't give us any tips on something. She also lets us know how she got into designing maternity clothes, and she said that when she was pregnant herself, she was having a hard time deciding what to wear or what she liked or what fitted her body. So she thought, you know what, why not design my own clothes and make them come alive? So I thought that was pretty cool. She also said that Dubai is a much safer place for her kids who are Black. And I'm like, huh. I mean, I've never heard that take. I thought that was interesting that she said that. I'm not sure how accurate that is. And I also find it interesting how her husband, Rich, he's British and she's Jamaican American. And I find it so cute that all three of her kids have 3 different accents, because we have one, he says water in a British accent. The other kid, he says it in an American accent. And then the other one, he says it in a Jamaican accent. I thought that was so adorable and so cute. But you know, it's interesting to see Lisa on TV once again after all these years after College Hill. We head over to Caroline Brooks' house and she's in the backyard with her son Adam, who's 9 years old, and he's in the pool, and I didn't see any cinder blocks of ice. So Lisa, I'm not sure what's going on with your pool, because Caroline's pool seems to be working just fine. But Caroline, we get a backstory of who she is. She has lived in Dubai for 12 years, but before that, she was married to this man named Zoran for 7. But once they called it quits and they decided to divorce, all she wanted in the divorce settlement was custody of their child. No money, no nothing, just the custody of their child. And I'm like, really? No money, nothing, not even maybe $200, a coupon to Target, a 4 for $4 from Wendy's, nothing, just the custody of your child. But okay. And then she goes on to say that she had to restart her whole life, but her son was the motivation that she needed. But it was just so impressive to me that a single mom, she built herself up all the way from the bottom up, and now she has 2 houses. And as soon as she said, oh, I have 2 houses, I was thinking about Giselle in Potomac, and you know Giselle was probably sleeping in Potomac like, wait, hold on. I think a new housewife just said that she has more houses than me. You know Giselle was triggered as soon as she said that she had more than 1 house. She has 2 houses, and I'm assuming that the one that she's in right now with her son, that's the one that she had to get approved by, because it's located in the Emirati section. The other one is a weekend house. It's somewhere that you could go for like a little vacation, I'm assuming. And she also goes on to say, and she gives us some intel that, you know, people are always like, how come you don't get a mega mansion and you have all this money, but you don't have a huge house? Your house is so small. Come to find out that it's pointless in Dubai, because if you buy a huge house like that, it costs a ridiculous amount of money, because she says that it's equivalent to if you buy a condo in the Burj Khalifa, you know, the infamous big tower, that is a crazy amount of money, that it almost equates to buying land in Georgia, that it's worth much more in Georgia than in Dubai. So it's pointless to buy a big house. And I'm like, oh, okay, I never knew that. You know, I always did wonder, like, how come the houses are so tiny and we never see like huge houses? I mean, to me, all the houses look beautiful. But so then she also calls her realtor. Her realtor is shopping around for new places because she wants to open up a spa in Dubai. She was going to do it in America, but she decided to do it in Dubai because, you know, it could give her more income, more money. And, you know, that's good for her, because again, it's very impressive that she's doing all of this with just her and her son and no help from her ex-husband. I'm assuming he doesn't help. Maybe, I don't know if he pays any money to the kid. I mean, she also asked Adam, oh, have you talked to your dad or anything? He's just like, no, like, I haven't talked to him today. So I'm curious to know where that relationship between all 3 of them lies. I forgot to mention that Caroline Brooks is also Afro-Latina. She is half Honduran, and I was so excited to find that out, because I am also half Honduran. I was like, wow, I don't think we've ever had any housewife on any of the cities or any of the franchise come from Honduras. So when I found that out about her, I thought that was so cool. I'm like, wow, she's opening the gates for more Honduras housewives to come on, because I believe I'm half Honduras and I'm half Colombian, but I think that we also had Colombian wives already in Miami. So I think we already checked that box off. But I was so glad that Caroline Brooks, she's making history by being the first ever Honduran housewife. We get a dinner scene between Lisa and Aion. Lisa shows up in her Jeep, but Aion, she makes a grand entrance on her, I believe it was a golf cart. I'm not sure. It looked like a fancy golf cart. I'm not sure where she was riding it from, her house, I'm assuming, but she shows up and she makes her slow-mo entrance. I mean, she was just walking down like, yeah, that's right, I'm going to dinner. but I'm doing it in slow motion. She looks so good. And again, the weather, she could really withstand the heat because she has on this huge jacket or the sweater. It looks thick. And I'm like, wait a minute, we just needed cinder blocks for a pool just a second ago, but she has on layers. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. You will see me in a tank top and some shorts and sandals every single day. Lisa gives us a backstory of how her and Aion met, and she was looking for black models to model her maternity leave that she designed, and she booked Aion, and ever since then, they were friends, and I believe that was 6-7 years ago, and they've been friends ever since then, and I just love that their friendships are organic. It's not something that, oh, they have to be friends for the show, like, oh, you know, we just met 2 seconds ago, but we have to pretend that we're best friends for this show. I love that it goes way back because that's how we get to the meat and potatoes of their relationships and layers to more things. You know, if they have drama or conflict between each other, it goes much more deeper than just above the surface. So they're sitting down, the waiter comes by and he's like, so what does everybody want to order? Aion, she orders something, but the waiter's like, wait, so are you allergic to anything? She's like, no, the only thing I'm allergic to is bullshit. And I'm like, you know what, Aion? I'm allergic to that too. Achoo. I loved her reply. He walks away, and then they're sitting down, and then they start talking about Caroline Strawberry's bachelorette party. Lisa's like, well, I'm invited, but I mean, I heard that you're not invited, right? Through Caroline Brooks. Caroline Brooks, she seems to be the messy one in the group, that she likes to tell everybody's business to everybody else, or at least that's what I'm getting at. I'm not sure where her and Aion lie, because it seems that there's like a little bit of tension between them. So Aion, she goes on to explain that her relationship with Caroline and Strawberry, that it's not really good. It's kind of on rocky terms. They met a couple of times, but every time she met Caroline, Caroline has always been rude to her, and Aion has always been rude back to her. So I feel like maybe it's their dominant personalities, that Caroline, she's dominant, Aion, she's also dominant. So it's just, they're probably clashing that way. Maybe that's why they bump heads. I'm not sure. Next thing you know, Lisa, she gets a phone call from Brooks, Caroline Brooks. And Brooks, I'm not sure if she knew that Aion was there. And she was just like, oh, so did you hear that Aion is not invited to the party? Because Caroline Strawberry, she just says that she wants all the important people there. Drama. And I'm just like, wow, like, look at that. And all while Aion is sitting there listening. And honestly, if I was Aion, I would have done the same thing. Like, hang the phone up, Lisa. Like, it's so rude that she's kind of talking trash about me, or at least laughing in my face like, oh, she's not invited. Ha ha ha. And you're over here just listening, but you're supposed to be my friend. Like, no, hang the phone up. But again, Lisa said that she'll always be Team Chanel Aion, and no matter if Brooks and Aion get into it, because apparently they have gotten into it in the past before, and this is no different. So I'm also assuming that between Caroline Brooks, Caroline Strawberry, Aion, and Milan, all 4 of them have very dominant personalities, and I feel like none of them, they're all probably going to bump heads at one point. I'm not really sure with Nina or Sarah yet, because they seem to be in the background. Aion is telling Lisa, hang the phone up. Why are you talking to her? Like, you're entertaining this for what? And why are you going to the bachelorette party? Aion is obviously very territorial about her friends, and I'm kind of similar to the same way. I mean, if I see you on the phone and we're having dinner, absolutely not. You need to put the phone away, because, you know, all the attention and time, it needs to be on me. Like, what's going on here? You're directing your attention to somebody who's kind of being shady to me about me on the phone? Absolutely not. But Lisa, she's like, well, I'm still going to go to the bachelorette party, because I'm, at the end of the day, as of now, I'm still friends with Caroline, and I'm still friends with you, but I also have to be mutual. Aion also makes some accusations about Caroline and Sergio's marriage by saying, well, I don't really see any type of spark between them, or any type of chemistry or sexual chemistry between either one of them. And I'm like, well, she said it, but we were all thinking it. Ooh. Because when they posted the Instagram pictures of both of them being intimate in the pool or just hugging and kissing, I was thinking like, I don't know. I could kind of see what Aion is talking about, how it seems like they're in a contract relationship, because I mean, it just seems like it's just a good looking woman and a good looking man just forcing each other to be physical. But then again, I don't know. I feel like it's too soon to judge their dynamic between both of them, because it's the first episode. Maybe if we're like by episode 10 and, you know, their relationship seems like 2 brick walls talking to each other, maybe then I could agree with Aion, but I don't know. Then again, Aion has been around Caroline and Sergio probably much more than I have to know how their dynamic is. But what do y'all think? Do y'all see some type of spark between them? Do you think that their marriage is just kind of like a contract thing? Like, oh, be with me, or, you know, be with me and I'm going to pay you or something? I'm not sure. It could honestly go either way. We get a cool transition of everybody getting ready for Caroline's bachelorette party, and everybody's standing in front of their own mirror in their own house, and they're putting on lipstick, and one by one you see them in a row doing the same thing with cool music in the background. And then once they're done getting ready, city. They're all walking around in different directions. The whole montage was just so cool to look at with the music in the background. It was something refreshing to see on the Housewives because we really don't get transitions like this on regular Housewives in the US. So then we all get to this yacht. That is where Caroline Strawberry and Sergio is having their bachelorette party. Sergio is there. Why? I'm not sure. But she's there. The whole yacht. I mean, honestly, I was kind of underwhelmed this whole entire episode. I mean, I expected money. I just expected the whole yacht to be made of gold or something. Like, I was just so let down the entire episode. I'm like, okay, I mean, where's the money? I mean, honestly, you could have told me that this was the Real Housewives of Miami and I would have believed it. The only thing that really impressed me this episode was the ice that was, what, $1,200? But other than that, I mean, I wasn't really like, woo, wow. But then again, it's the first episode, so who knows? We have more episodes to go. Lisa, Caroline Brooks, and Nina show up, and already Caroline Brooks was already being shady towards Aion because Lisa was just like, oh, it's such a shame that Aion isn't here. Like, she would have so much fun here. And Caroline Brooks was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that she's not here. I think it's better off that way. And I'm like, wow, Lisa, any comments? Because you are Aion's friend, but you stayed quiet. So, But come to find out that Caroline, in her confessional, she goes on to say that, yeah, I have known Aion for 2 years. And, you know, she's kind of annoying is basically what she's saying. Because I think that with Caroline Brooks, she's more reserved and quiet and, you know, in the background for a little bit. But Aion, again, her personality is at a 10. She's very out there. She has, you know, she's very unapologetic about who she is. But I don't think that Caroline really rubs well with that. I don't think she really likes the attention on her like that. And she was just like, oh, Aion, every time she walks into a room, it's always this huge outfit. The feathers are in your face and it's just kind of like too much. So I think that that's the problem between them, that Caroline Brooks, she just thinks that Aion is doing way too much. But I mean, then we see this guy named Michael and I'm like, wait a minute, this guy looks familiar and his name is Michael. I thought it was Michael Darby for a second. I'm like, what is he doing here in Dubai? But he's there. He's having a good time. I believe it was Caroline Brooks. She was like, oh, you should strip. You should strip. Where's the strippers? And I was with Caroline Brooks. I'm like, where are the strippers? But I wouldn't put it past Sergio to tell, what's her name? Caroline Strawberry to tell her like, I don't want any type of male strippers or anything at this bachelorette party. I would not have been surprised if he like took control of this entire thing, even though it wasn't even about him. And then come to find out, he didn't want any bachelor party because he doesn't want any strippers or pole dance or anything like that in his face. And I'm like, so you're lame is what you're really saying. I'm not sure. I don't want to say he's coming off controlling or anything because again, why is he here at the bachelorette party? They get down to playing these games. And I believe he had like a broom or something in between his legs or something like that. And somebody had to get like a circle or something on the stick that he has between his legs. And then Caroline Brooks, I'm like, wow, for everything that you were just saying about Aion, how she's too much, here you go. You're giving the man a lap dance. He's married to somebody else. And she's just rubbing her ass all over him and everything. I mean, I don't blame her because, Alexa, play Cater to You by Destiny's Child. I would have been looking at Sergio like, you know what? We don't need a stick. Move this stick between your legs. Okay, so, you know, welcome to Raphael's Cabaret, where your every desire will be fulfilled. You know, they had a good time. Caroline Strawberry, she didn't take offense by me. And I would have been like, wait, okay, Caroline Brooks, that was cute and everything, but move. So Sergio, is your dick hard? Did that make you hard? Pull it out. Because I don't know, that was a little bit too much, but you know, I guess bachelorette parties, and that's what he asked for because he signed up to come to this bachelorette party. Nobody wanted him here, but they all had a good time. They all had fun. I'm pretty sure if Aion was here, the whole party would have been even more fun because again, she's a fun personality. But again, I was just so let down about the money. I thought they were gonna at least get some goodie bags, you know, once they got off the ship or something like with gold and money inside it or a check. But nothing, you know, it was just a yacht in the middle of the ocean. We get a play date between Nina and Sarah and their children, and this is where we get a proper introduction from both of them. Nina, we find out that she was born in Lebanon, but she was raised in Texas, but she moved to Dubai with her husband in 2011. She has 3 children, Sophia, Noor, and Aion, as opposed to Sarah, who has 1 son from her first marriage, and she's been divorced twice. And I'm like, now wait a minute. So you and Caroline Brooks are both single. Neither one of you are wives? On a show called Housewives. But okay, we'll let it slide this time again. But she goes on to say that she labels herself as rebellious. And the more she's talking, the more I see why she labels herself as that. Because she's like, well, I dress the way I want to for myself. Yes, she's also Arabic and she's also a local Emirati. And she takes her culture into consideration when it comes to her fashion. But she also wants to be progressive because that is what Dubai is. And I love that way of thinking. I'm like, look at that. She also goes on to explain something that I never knew. She says that, you know, people typically come to Dubai and they think that all the women have have to be dressed from head to toe and they can't show anything. But no, that's only a choice. I mean, that's only cultural. That's not everybody that has to do that around here. Like, you have your own choice of living the way you want to and dressing the way you want to. And I never knew that. I always thought that all the women in Dubai had to be covered up. I thought that was just a, you know, not a rule, but a cultural thing that everybody had to follow in Dubai. So I learned something new through Sarah. And I was also wondering that because I was looking at some of their outfits throughout the episodes and I'm like, are they allowed to, you know, show that much skin or, you know, show thigh or you know, breast or cleavage or anything on the show? But again, according to Sarah, it's okay. You could wear whatever you want. So again, I learned something because of Sarah. So, and I also love that both her and Nina were going back and forth talking in Arabic and English. Like, they were mixing it up. And I love that. I love the representation. They take their kids to this frame building that they had to walk on and the floor is like clear glass. I mean, all of it looks scary. I was with the son. The son, he looked like he was just like shaking. I would have been shaking too. But I believe Sarah, she was just laying down on it like it was nothing, like just posing. I would have been scared. Honestly. And did anybody hear Nina she continued dropping, oh, we lived in Burj Khalifa before. Stop, don't act scared. We lived in Burj Khalifa before. Like, she kept saying, well, I lived in Burj Khalifa. I lived in Burj Khalifa. We get it. You have money. You lived in the tall building. We understand it. They make their way back over outside to the grass area where the kids continue to play around with each other while Nina and Sarah, they continue talking to each other in English and Arabic. They continue mixing both languages up. And then I believe it was Nina who told Sarah, oh, well, I'm having this dinner party at the top of the building that she lives at. And she rented out the whole entire rooftop. And I'm like, wow, okay, Miss Money, now we're getting somewhere. I think now I'm getting impressed. She goes on to say that, yeah, we're going to have the beautiful view to the Burj Khalifa. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this woman is just going to continue talking about the building. But I get it though, because the building is beautiful. And then Sarah's just like, oh, so who did you invite? Nina goes on to say that she invited everybody. It should be interesting to see how this plays out. And she also made the whole dinner reservation during a full moon. And I was with Sarah when she was just like, oh, I wonder how everybody's going to, you know, turn into or what they're going to turn into. And I'm like, yeah, because why specifically on a full moon? Because nothing ever happens good. Nothing good ever happens on a full moon, at least from my history. We finally get to Nina's dinner that she's having at the rooftop of the C'est La Vie building. And I did not know that this was the other infamous building in Dubai. First is the Burj Khalifa. I love the building. I'm a big fan of skyscrapers, but the C'est La Vie building, that's another one that I also find to be so beautiful because it seems like it's a giant boat on top of two towers. So the fact that she's having this at the rooftop and she rented out the whole thing privately, I'm like, wow, like that's impressive. Like, can you invite me next time, Nina? But she's there, and I believe the first one to arrive was Sarah, followed by Brooks, Caroline Brooks. And Brooks, she's just judging everybody's outfit as soon as everybody arrives, because then Lisa Milan shows up, and then Brooks is just like, I don't understand it. I'm the only one who followed a dress code. And first of all, I didn't even know, or maybe I missed her, that there was supposed to be a dress code, because she's wearing like this pastel color, and I'm assuming that everybody else was supposed to follow suit, but nobody else did. And she's like, I don't get it. I mean, Nina, she looks like she's going to a disco party. And I'm like, oh, wait, she does. And then she moves over to Sarah. And she's like, Sarah, she looks like she's impersonating Elvis. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. Yes, she does, too. And then she moves over to Lisa. And she's like, Lisa looks like she's going to a wedding. And I'm like, now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Not too much on Lisa. Lisa looks beautiful. I mean, yes, she does look like she's about to be somebody's bridesmaid, but she looks good. She looks flawless. So she's sitting there. And Brooks, she also looks nice in her blue pastel dress. Then we get Caroline Strawberry. She shows up wearing this yellow dress. She also looks pretty. She sits down. And I believe that was it until Aion. Aion shows up, and you know she makes a grand entrance walking in slow motion. At this point, I'm sure that it's not even an effect. I feel like she's just doing that willingly. So she shows up, and I'm like, okay, how is this interaction going to go with her and Caroline? You know, obviously there's some tension between them. So she goes up to everybody. She hugs everybody. She saves the hug for Caroline, but she doesn't quite hug Caroline all the way. She's like, oh, hey, Caroline. And she does this. Just enough to not really touch her. And she's like, oh, hey, Stanberry. Like, she calls her by her last name. And then Caroline, she doesn't like that. So as Aion is walking away, Caroline is like, it's Caroline to you. Thank you. And Aion is like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to call you Stanberry. And then Caroline was just like, no, it's Caroline. And I'm like, wow, we haven't even sat down yet, and they're already getting it on. And I'm here for it. I mean, can you imagine getting into a fight with somebody at the rooftop of this beautiful building? I mean, you know, obviously I'm going to raise my my standards on getting into arguments with people. Like, if we're not on top of a tower, I'm not fighting with you. They all started talking about the bachelorette party that they had for Caroline on the yacht. And they're all, oh, we had such a good time. We were drinking. We were doing this. Oh, Elisa, she forced me to drink so much. I got drunk. Aion, she's just sitting there seeming so upset about it because obviously she's not invited. So she can't even relate to what everybody's talking about. And she's just sitting there like... Even her pissed off face, she looks good. I mean, it looks like she's still doing a photo shoot as she's upset. She's just like she is still smizing. So she interrupts everybody. She's like, okay, everybody, enough about the story. I don't give a shit about the story because I wasn't there. So can we talk about something else? Oh, and also when she arrived, she also was just like, oh, hey, everybody, how are you? How are you? I'm beautiful. I look gorgeous. I'm pretty. How are you? And I'm like, Aion, how do you introduce yourself like that? Just complimenting yourself as you're trying to say hello to everybody. That's another thing that rubbed Brooks off the wrong way. She's like, who does that? And honestly, from a viewer perspective, yes, Aion seems entertaining and I love her personality and everything. But if I was in the same room as her, I'm not sure if I could really handle being around her in the same circle the way Brooks is. I would probably feel the similar to how Brooks was feeling. Like, okay, you're doing too much. Enough about this. Is not about you. This is about Caroline. So maybe I could see what Brooks is talking about. But again, from a viewer's perspective, I'm okay with it. So she continues on and she's like, I don't really care about this conversation. Can we talk about something else, you know, that I'm involved in? And what do y'all think? Do y'all think that she was just rude for saying that? Or is it okay for her to say that because she wasn't invited? So of course, it's almost like they're rubbing it in her face that, oh, you weren't here, but we were here. You weren't here, but we were here. What do you think? At the same time, she was also making faces like, like just being so childish about it. And then I believe Brooks, she was just like, no, we're going to continue talking about this. I mean, anyway, so she continues on. And I feel like she was trying to press Aion's buttons. And that's what Aion said in her confessional. She's like, my relationship with Brooks, she's always trying to see how upset she could get me. And honestly, I feel like that's what Caroline was trying to do. Because she was just like, oh, Caroline Strawberry. She was talking to her. She was like, we had so much fun. I mean, we got drunk. There were strippers. It was just everything. I gave your husband a lap dance. Obviously, she's trying to rub it in Aion's face. She's trying to throw it in her face like, you were not invited. So then Aion, she does not like that. So she interrupts again. And she's like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. I want to make a toast. And she has a little glass in her hand. She's like, I want to make a toast to Nina. So let's talk about you, Brooks. And I'm like, what kind of toast is that? She just made it right back over to Brooks. And she's like, I want to talk about the comment that you made when you called me at 7 o'clock in the morning the other day. And you said, oh, Caroline Blueberry, she's not inviting anybody who's not important. Ha, ha, ha. And you were trying to rub it in my face. And I did not like that comment. So Brooks, she goes on to say, I never said that. I mean, I made the comment that, yes, ha, ha, I was making a joke. But Caroline herself did not say that. Caroline Brooks, she's the one that said that as a joke. But honestly, I mean, that's not a joke, especially when there's tension between you and Aion. Obviously, you're trying to be shady. So, of course, Aion is going to take it the wrong way. Caroline Strawberry, she's like, no, I never said that. I mean, I would never say that. The only reason you were not invited was because there was not enough space on the yacht. There was a certain amount of people that had to be on the yacht. And honestly, I call BS with that because even if there was space, you would not have invited Aion at all to your yacht. You see how you don't really like her like that. Brooks, you also don't like her like that. So obviously, she would not have been invited because you probably would have been shady at the party, at the bachelorette party. And if Aion took over your bachelorette party and she was having too much fun, I'm pretty sure both of them would have been upset about it. So yeah, she was not going to get an invitation either way. Sarah tries to jump in and de-escalate the situation by telling Aion, look, we're all just talking about this beautiful, lovely moment that happened in Caroline's life. Can we just appreciate that for one night? Aion is like, no, we all have beautiful, lovely moments in our own lives that we could talk about. We don't have to talk about this one. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that Aion was being a spoiled brat, or do you think that she had a right to, you know, sit there and be upset that everybody is talking about this event that she was purposely not invited to? But then again, Sarah wasn't invited too. I mean, she wasn't there either, and she's not making a big fuss about it. But then again, was she invited and she just denied, or was she busy? That's the question that we also need to find out. Brooks and Aion continue going back and forth over the joke that Brooks made about Aion not being important enough to be invited to Caroline's party. Next thing you know, everything goes completely left once Aion was just like, you know what? I'm breaking all the rules. I'm gonna hit below the belt. So she tells Brooks, I just feel like you're jealous of me. And I'm like, now where did this come from? but Brooks, she fires back at Aion and she's like, jealous of what? Your stiff wig? You look like a scarecrow. And I'm like, well, we could all go home now because I'm pretty sure they all started arguing with each other before the food even came out or before anybody even got a drink. But Aion, she fires back at Brooks and she's like, I feel like you're jealous of me. Look at my face and look at yours, bitch. And I'm like, oh, so now we're throwing around those B words. We could definitely go home now. Meanwhile, Nina is at the end of the table. She's trying to light some sage up and she's like, wait, how come this thing isn't working? Where's the piece? I told you, Nina, not a second ago that you should not be having any type of events during the full moon because look, it brings out the worst in people. So now everybody's upset. They want to clarify with Caroline Strawberry one more time. Did you make that comment about, you know, you're not inviting people because they're not important enough to you? She's like, no, I never said that. Brooks, she takes ownership of it. She's like, I said it. Caroline, she never said it. I'm the one who said it as a joke. But again, it was not being a joke because you're trying to be shady to Aion and you know that that's going to piss her off. Next thing you know, Nina, she interrupts the argument and she's like, okay, no, enough. Everybody, if you want to settle scores with each other, you have to do it at your own time, not on my time. And you know she was probably just pissed because she had to pay so much money for the rooftop, you know, for having it private for everybody, for the group. And now everything is ruined because you got into a fight. But at least you have a nice scenery. So then Caroline, I believe she was like, oh, it's fine, I'll take a toast. Brooks, I believe she was just like, oh, I want more champagne. And meanwhile, Aion, she's just smizing. I mean, she is pissed, but she still looks good. She's just like, she just continued smizing the entire time. And that was that, everybody. That was a season 1, episode 1 premiere of The Real Housewives of Dubai. What did everybody else think about this premiere? I mean, I had a lot of fun watching this episode. I'm looking forward to getting to know much more about the cast. I feel like this is a very, very, very strong cast, and I'm looking forward to see what they bring. And I love that they're all diverse from the very start instead of waiting like season 14, 15, 16, season 20 to diversify the cast. I like that we're starting off that way from the beginning. And I also love that they're all an actual group of friends instead of a bunch of co-workers like, oh, you don't know each other, but you have to pretend like you're best friends for 10 years, even though we just met 10 seconds ago. So I'm glad about that. Also, what did everybody think about the intro? You know, the music, the lights, the colors, everything about it. I believe they're holding gold coins. What did everybody think about that? I thought it was cute. The music, it could have been a little bit louder, but I love the intro. As for the taglines, I'm not sure. I mean, the taglines are okay. I like Aion's, I think, but I mean, for the most part, they're pretty like okay. But I like the intro. What else about this premiere? Yeah, I mean, I hope that, you know, the Erica Jane and Jen Shah and their drama on their cities doesn't like, you know, put a cloud on this one. Like, oh, we expect like such hardcore drama from the start. Like we already expect like Caroline or Lisa or somebody on this cast to already have like 100 scams and 100 scandals already in their closet. Like, you know, let's just kind of like, you know, move in slowly with it, because I know we're so used to that, you know, this might seem like, oh, you know, there's not much drama, there's not much going on, but you know, that's the way Housewives used to be before it became like a whole criminal show. But let me know your opinions down in the comments about the premiere. Bye, everybody. Mwah.